Welcome to another episode of Uncensored Daily Radar, where your fellow foiled friend scans the entire globe for what may or may not be artificial and nefarious activity. We go through satellite radar as well as the zippity zip zap radar, aka NEXRAD, to better understand atmospheric and environmental conditions in full context. Before we get started, there are a few things that you should know. Number one, I repeat, I am not a meteorologist, but I am a tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorist, which obviously makes me far more qualified to analyze atmospheric conditions. Number two, videos are fairly short, but feel free to skip ahead to any section you're most interested in. And lastly, if you'd like to see these daily radar videos, please consider becoming a paid subscriber. Otherwise, this video is about to reach a paywall, and we'll pause right now. Now. Okay. All right, let's get started.
Good evening. It is January 28th, about 9:09 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's get started. Yes, I'm feeling much better. Thank you for asking. I took last night off to work on that video, that pilot video. I interviewed a commercial pilot who I've been talking to for almost, I feel like a year now. No, because I only started doing these weather videos a year ago. Oh yeah, it's been about a year. Look at that. It must have been maybe last 6 months. Whenever he sees some interesting things on the radar, he'll send it over, and then I'll try to match it to NEXRAD to see if I can find anything. And it's always so obvious, like, the last couple times it's been out of Nevada, because there's something very unique about these beams. Anyway, you should go listen to that interview. I posted it on Substack, Instagram, and X. Instagram's throttling it like freaking crazy. I'm gonna have to make a separate video where I'm really censoring it to tell people to go watch it, because it's hiding comments from me. And it always does that when it tries to reduce engagement, which then keeps it throttled in the algorithm. It does that with the extra good posts. Interesting how that goes. Boop.
And remember, every single glow you see here is a NEXRAD radar station. The official statement is that it's just simply Doppler radar helping us track weather systems and give us forecasts, things like that. The conspiracy theory is that these towers are equipped with technology to allow us to manipulate the weather in various ways. One of those ways being that it can microwave certain areas of the atmosphere to the point of creating high levels of heat, which can cause heat waves, excessive drought. Of course, you can also, by creating massive temperature swings, you can create severe winds. And also, by creating a heated area like that, you can create a high pressure zone. High pressure zones deter low pressure systems, aka storms. So if a storm is traveling, like let's say it would have normally gone like here, well, you can put a bunch of high pressure zones up here, or like a big high pressure zone here, and it would have gone up, but instead it's gonna do this. And then you could even put a high pressure zone here, and then it would be encouraged to do that. You could also surround it. Theoretically, this is all theoretical, conspiratorially theoretical.
This area here has been just kind of glowing, but it's less today. Or less than. There's that beam again coming out of Nevada. Anytime I see that, something weird happens. And it's been doing that now for a few days. This area here is still got that stargazy glisten, that glitter. Have yet to find a connection with that. Still working on that. Moves around though. So there's the sun rising. See how it goes, whoop, from east to west. Yeah, intense. I do hope no fires are going to be starting in California. Sunrise, sunset. Wait, was that? Southern California is the only place in the country that zip-zaps away 24/7, 365. But I would say it's a little bit more intense than it normally is down there. And for a moment there, I see some of that flame-like radar, that stuff that's usually associated with extreme winds or even fires. But I only saw it there briefly. Another sunrise, still glistening over here. All right, let's zoom on in, and we're going to shorten the time frame to more recently. What? Looks like we got trails in here and here. And I could just tell that from how the precipitation looks. This area is glowing like crazy. Let's see, any birds right here? Again, it seems not connected because it will glow with or without birds. Huh? Nothing. Oops. Paying attention to the far western states, and then we'll do the far eastern states, and then we'll look at the central portion. Sorry, my voice is still a little raspy from being sick. Oh, that's interesting. Look at this guy. It's beaming up to Nevada. All right, that is unusual. It's not a beam I see often, and then this whole area is kind of acting up. Huh. I wonder if they've got intense fog or a fire. So there's something going on in Southern California. Or something will go on in Southern California. Something weird's up with that area for sure. Worth mentioning. This one's just been beaming down in this area on and off for months. Yeah, this is more excessive than normal. Like, a lot more excessive. Let me even... Yeah, that particular beam going up through Las Vegas, that is unusual. Do we have smoke over there in Southern California? Nope. Minimal. That wouldn't be it. I mean, the AQI is pretty consistently bad over there. Actually, today it looks a little bit better than normal. So, there's nothing in the air that should warrant that kind of reaction unless... This is the fog map. You know, I pay for premium. They should be able to store this data so you can go back in time. Well, they're not predicting any in the future. And I'm not seeing any in the short past that I can see. So I would watch out for this area and in Nevada. It's weird. Wait. Oh, this whole area started zip-zapping around the same time. I'm looking for any evidence right here that the tower in South Carolina is doing something. Because it was during the winter storm. It was spinning. But it's hard to always see. There's definitely something going on out here, but it's not what I'm looking for. But this tower is beaming out that way. All right. Like Southern Florida's got some stuff going on down here. I want to know what this is. And we've compared it to these maps. Sometimes they'll make sense. Most of the time they don't. I suppose they were there. I'd have to match the time code. So 1540 UTC on the 28th is equivalent to 1040 ET on the 28th. So this is the exact minute that this was captured. So no. It's not the birds. It's something else. You know, the AQI in the middle of the country is bad, which is unusual because that's not something I'm used to seeing. Yeah, very strange to see this like this. Oftentimes, California looks like this, and you might see some other random place like over here, but to see a whole section, the whole middle of the country covered in unhealthy AQI, they won't call it unhealthy, they call it oh, there you go. Unhealthy for sensitive groups. No. Anything over 30, I consider unhealthy. Actually, maybe not unhealthy, but irritating. You know, probably, actually, yeah, probably, I don't know. It depends because the problem is the AQI meters are not good. Like, they don't even detect the stuff that I would be concerned about. They're not looking for aluminum and barium and strontium in the way that we would need it looked at. So I don't know. Over 30, I'll go outside. You know, I'll behave normally. But over 40, that's when I start to be like, no, because probably a real AQI would be like over 80 at that point. But all this, yeah, not good. What's the wind like? Oh, okay. So, well, it's pretty stagnant here, but it's also very stagnant. Pretty stagnant over here. I don't think that's it. What the? I always do that. Just getting this stuff on record, but also looking to see if anything matches the AQI map. That's all water, but I might as well click them. All right, well, what is it? There's the nitrogen dioxide. All right, doesn't seem to be the source of the issue here. PM 2.5. Okay, so it's PM 2.5 issue. Sulfur's not the issue, but oh my gosh, look at all of this sulfur over here. That's crazy. I was saying that I thought it might have come from this tower. I'm sorry, not tower. Volcano. I don't think that's the case. There's got to be a local source here. Where's this wind even coming from? This one's going that way. Where? So this is just appearing out of nowhere over here. Wow. Yeah, I don't know what that's about, but that is weird for here. Okay. Carbon dioxide is not great over here, but it's usually not very good over here. So the reason for the bad air quality is PM 2.5. I guess. Actually, because, I mean, it's the only thing that really matches. Dust? Is it dust? No, not dust. These are all the components of AQI. You would... And we don't have fires. We do have fires. Supposedly not a whole lot of smoke. Always smoke down here, though. They're up to something down here. I don't know what it is. All right. Let's check out trails, shall we? We'll start on the Pacific. Well, I mean, right off the bat, we're seeing lots of trails up here in Canada. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Plenty of trails coming off the Pacific. Ooh, we'll switch satellites, get a better view of that. After we are done with this one, becomes lots of haze and heads over. Look at all these. Trails the length of state lines, people. Sometimes, actually no, a lot of the time, they will spread out and go across the whole country. Here, 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 here. Dum, dum, dum. Lots of trails down here where the all that tower activity is going a little nuts, but we see trails go through here all the time. Lots of trails over here in northern Mexico. And looks like central Mexico. Oh man, guys, I just want a jar of frickin' peanut butter. You know those dates? I used to get like a variety pack. Fresh. You know, not those hard, stupid dates that you get at the grocery store. Now, these were like mushy, just picked from the tree dates, and they were different variety, I guess would be the word. Oh my gosh. I just like to dip that into some freaking peanut butter. It's hard to find quality peanut butter, though, because unfortunately so much of it is contaminated with mold. Because the peanuts are contaminated with mold. Now I'm hearing about cockroaches and coffee beans, about the government allowing a certain percentage of cockroach to be in coffee beans because it's just such a rampant issue that people wouldn't have coffee if they set restrictions on it. Grind your own coffee, people, if you're going to drink coffee. I can't handle coffee. I turn into a maniac. Yeah, lots of trails here and here and here. Dum 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 dum. Da 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 dum 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 da da da. Lots of trails mixed in over yonder. And they're probably all up in here. Hard to see where the black is because the trails are usually high altitude. Altitude is indicated by the color below. Highest to lowest. Pink as dust. You can see here, and here, and here, and here, here, here. Up through the heart, cold and clear, strike all out and strike for fear. Lots of trails all here. Now, guys, the question is, are every single one of these lines chemtrails? Maybe. I think it's impossible. There are thousands. So something's either being put in the jet fuel or, remember, actually, let's just finish this area and I'll continue that thought. Look at all these trails. So many freaking trails. So the particulate could be high in the area. Remember, when particulate is high in an area, it can make the area more prone to unusual, persistent contrails. But what's causing that particulate to be present in the first place? Whatever it is, it's not something that we have seen forever, because the prevalence has increased dramatically. I've been seeing them for over 20 years, but not like this. I've been getting really, really, really intense for the last 10 years, and like never before for the last 5 years. Just had to pause it there a minute. Cats were in need of food. Cat food delivery was a little bit later than it should have been. Also, I've been feeding them a little bit more than normal, so I was out before I normally am. Cats are getting more demanding with food. Lots of trails out yonder. Looks like over in Greenland, too. Split the ice apart. Beware the frozen heart. That's Europe over here, by the way. Spain and Portugal. España. Portugal. You ever wonder why everyone changes the names of countries? Why do we do that? What is that? Like, that would be like... Actually, yeah, people do that. That's, you know... Like, we call it Spain. It's España. I'm pretty sure this is true. My roommate from China told me this. He said it's called China, not China. Or he was just really messing with me. So don't quote me on that. All right, so this area is definitely loaded with trails. What is it doing right now? Okay, yeah, it's got a lot of trails again. But there's also a lot of trails, you know, the trails are moving in over here. We got trails moving in over here. What is it about the AQI here? What is that? So many trails. Lots and lots of trails. Sorry if I repeated that area. I was just feeding my cats and I got, you know, I still have a little bit of that brain fog from being sick. Yeah, so the trails are in this entire area. Northern Florida as well. This whole space. This whole space. That's a thick one right there. Wow, that one travels too. Look at that. There she blows. 3:30 UTC. Still there. Still there. Still there. Ooh, breaking up. Hazing out. It's like 10 hours. All right, let's check out the rest of this. Turn back on my color filter. So much better. Split the ice apart. Where the frozen heart. A is for Ariana. Couple trails there. Could be, you know, persistent contrails. Might not be. That I only see a couple. They're fairly low altitude. Man, guys, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to have my coconut water with my frozen berries. I gotta make that happen. So we got some trails out here, but seeing that now, this is Africa. I normally don't see trails over Africa. Sometimes, though, there have been days where I've been like, are those trails? Wait, maybe not. They get like these in-between trails. There's certain qualities where I'm like, nah, those are contrails. And then there's certain qualities where I'm like, those are suspicious. Also, the perspective on this particular satellite is skewed. So, like, these might not actually be at the coastline or over Africa, but they might be. So I will need a switch to get a better view. You know what I mean. Load. Wow. Thanks. I still haven't watched the last episode of Stranger Things. But I feel like I have, you know, because of social media. Wait, have I? Wait, I think maybe I did. I don't even know anymore because I feel like I already watched everything on Instagram. Because people were showing all these little parts. One part in particular. Lots of trails here when he confessed his homosexuality at the just before battle. People didn't like that. Lots of trails here. Well, some people didn't like it. Lots of trails. Beware the frozen heart. Yeah, you get a really good view of the trails up yonder. Up yonder! I don't normally say yonder, but I'm enjoying it very much. And for some reason, whenever I say it, I picture a golden Labrador. Ah, Old Yeller. That's probably what it is. Yeah, all the way up here, guys. Lots of trails. How long have I spent on this particular satellite? Yeah, the brain fog is still here. I feel like I'm just like, ooh, over here again. I'm showing you this again. I'm in the hacking phase. I'll be talking, and then all of a sudden, never mind. It's not. I'll cough, and I'll, anyway. Just getting stuff out. Not the most feminine thing. Wow, look at you, Hawaii. You're probably having a beautiful day right now. Although, wait, yeah. Probably that. Well, can't tell. Looks like you guys have some low-lying clouds or fog or something over there. Although I do believe they call it VOG. It's like fog, but it's because of your volcano. Although the people there are telling me they think it's a bunch of BS. Yeah, here is the view. Lots and lots of black lines. Those are absolutely left by aircraft. Question is it for nefarious purposes? Or are they persistent contrails in response to something nefarious? Or is the planet shifting? They're hiding it from us. And we're just seeing the symptoms of it. Dum dum dum. So many options. Such a mystery. Life is exciting. Oh my gosh, look at all these trails. My goodness gracious. Boom, boom, boom. Ba-boom, boom, boom, ba-boom, boom. What was that movie? Was it Jim Carrey that said it? They were like, you can't say bomb. He's like, bomb, 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 bomb. Trails over Alaska. Tell me in the comments if you prefer the show to be silent. And again, I suppose you could just simply put it on mute. And maybe just pull up a song on Spotify and then play the show. So you can just see what I'm showing you and not listen to my ramblings. Which, by the way, is the best part of the show. You'd be missing out. Ramblings. Ramblings number one. Ramblings number one. Yeah, guys, they aren't playing with these trails, especially over California. Especially over California. Ah, Australia. You're getting that beautiful blue back. Love this color. Australia used to only have this color. I used to never really see any geoengineering present, although they'll go through like a month of straight of getting them down here. Especially New Zealand. New Zealand got them a whole lot. I am seeing contrails. I'm saying contrails because, I mean, they might not be. They might be chemtrails. There might be some in here I can't see, but see. They look. I suppose there could be more. I do see another X here. Okay, yeah. New Zealand might still be getting some trails. They were, they normally don't get trails, but they were getting them quite often over the last 2 months. Ooh, hold on. Checking out this area. This area, like, never gets trails. I did see some over here for, a week? And not a week, probably a couple days, actually. But I am seeing some right here, which is unique. Whoa. So it was over here, and then what? This is weird. This is just weird looking. It's all moving in 2 directions. It's moving this way and this way. This whole area is weird. Those are like mid-level. Those could be contrails. It could not be. They look pretty intense for contrails and they're super frequent. But the way it's moving makes me think it might be. It looks like maybe the circumstances in which persistent contrails would exist, like those pockets, those areas where you could see it, looks like it's just like moving. I don't know. I have to watch this area. I don't even know what these countries are. Sri Lanka? That's just in the back of my mind. Where is Sri Lanka? Do I have that right? No, Sri Lanka's right here. We're seeing it right here. So Malaysia, Cambodia. What? Sorry. I'm not reading that. Oh. That's a great name. Okay. Is that a country? I don't know. It's gotta be a town. I'll just Phuket. Just move on. That'd be a really, really good name. Oh, uh-oh. Hey, ChatGPT. There's a town here in Malaysia. I think it's a town. It's spelled Phuket. How do you pronounce that?
That's actually Phuket, and it's a place in Thailand. It's pronounced kind of like Phuket, with the stress on the second syllable.
That makes more sense. Well, good thing we're not, you know how I was saying? Like, we changed the names of things. Good thing we didn't change the name of that to an American pronunciation. Lots of trails up here. Definitely lots of trails up here. Lots of trails over here in Russia, Western Russia, it looks like here in northern Kazakhstan. Reminds me of So I was in this American history class, this AP American history class, very fancy. Yeah, definitely trails up here. And my teacher, when he was going through our names, I'll never forget it. It was my senior year. Lots of trails up here. And also down here in southern Mongolia. When he was going through the names, he said the most inappropriate name he'd ever heard. He really built it up. We were all waiting because he said at the end of the year he would tell us what the name was. Pause the story. So I just switched satellites, and they're set to 60-minute intervals over the last 24 hours. But notice how they're not skipping 60 minutes. That's a big jump. And this is not the time it is now. This is a couple hours behind. So this guy is skipping. Oh, and I'll tell you that story after I'm done looking through these trails. Definitely trails up here. Over here. Looks like over here. Looks like contrails here. I say contrails because they're super thin. Very faint. Although they didn't really start off that way over here. What is this? Iran, right? There she goes. There she goes again. I think I just started singing that because I ran. I was just picturing a woman running away. Racing through my brain, and I just can't contain this feeling. Something. Ding, 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 ding. All right, so this one also, I believe, is skipping. So they're at 60-minute intervals. Well, at least it's not really that out of date. All right, so remember what we talked about with the trails? Like it was warped at this edge by Africa. Let's see what we see. Oh no, those were indeed going over it, but from this perspective, they definitely look less threatening than they did from the side. But, they could very well be. I don't know what they're doing in Africa. I just don't know. So we have to pay attention. That area, I remember a couple of people reached out to me from a couple different areas in Africa. I believe right over here. I forgot where. And they were telling me that they had traveled there and they saw some trails. And they were like, what? They'd never seen trails there before. And then they started seeing them. I started seeing them. Lots of trails here. Some trails moving into Northern Africa. Northern Africa does get some trails when they are left in the Pacific and before they swoop up back to Europe. Lots of trails. Guy from Scotland reached out telling me that he was seeing a crazy amount of trails recently, particularly ones that are coming from lower aircraft. All right. So my teacher says that he would tell us at the end of the year what the name was. I'll write it down. You tell me what you think it says. He thought it was a prank. Oh, wait, that's mirror image, isn't it? Shithhead. So he laughed and he said it, the way an American would. And the kid was terribly embarrassed. And because, the teacher thought the kid didn't exist. It was just like a prank from, a teacher or something like that. But no, it's Shithhead. Kid's name was Shithhead. Oh my gosh. All right, let's get this down on record. Pressure. Lots of high pressure over here. My goodness gracious. Wait, what? Look at these two guys around Madagascar. Low chance of low probability in 24 hours. Okay. Low chance in 24 hours. Dun, 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 dun. We do have a category 2 out here. Look at that. Dun, 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 dun. There she goes. Earthquakes are interesting to me, right? Because particularly this area that received the most ice and rapid temperature swings. I mean, these trees are all completely collapsing. People are able to ice skate, or maybe not today. I was seeing that. It's like the last couple of days, people have been able to ice skate from their driveways down the street, or at least that's what it looks like in video. Pretty wild. And they're telling people that these loud booms they might be hearing that seemingly come from underground, they're saying those are called frost quakes, because the groundwater apparently froze so rapidly that it's shifting the land above it and making loud booms. But also they got a lot of exploding trees, so that's another boom that they're hearing. Who would have thought? Guys, I'm going to make a video on this. It's going to be one of those funny ones again. Oh, that's right. You know what? On this browser, it won't let me click on them. Here we go. We got, microbursts, cloud bursts, radiation fog, frost quakes. Whoa, what is going on over? What? God, can you stop being so sensitive? We have a lot over here by San Antonio. That's weird. What is this guy? I just clicked on it. 4.1. What is all of this? I wonder if this is where they're telling people to expect frost quakes or something. I don't think this area got that, though. Yeah, there's something going on over here in Charlotte, Texas. Not used to seeing quakes down there. That is unusual. I'm no earthquake expert. I'm just telling you what I haven't seen before. 4.8 North Pacific. Right there. That's interesting, too. This one out here is interesting. You know, when I do my little zoom in, zoom out thing on the key clicker, pointer, pad area, it's very sensitive. Whoa. 5.5 over in central China. I think this is where that random low pressure zone was, if I'm remembering right. Interesting. What? Oh. Yeah, that's in the same spot. Don't know if that has anything to do with that. I do know that sometimes ahead of very interesting storms, I've seen earthquakes happen. It really shouldn't happen, but I do wonder what's going on in China right now, in this area. China. There she goes again. Florida. These are the weather warnings across the continental U.S. Moderate freeze warning. Cold weather advisory all the way down to South Florida. My goodness, what's the point of living in Florida if it's going to get cold? I grew up in Florida. And, yeah, it never got cold. I mean, once, I guess it did. Severe flood warning in southwestern Alabama. Extreme cold watch in Mississippi and Louisiana. Northern Mississippi, you guys have moderate special weather statement. What is that? Hazardous roadways, black ice. Yeah, for sure. Western Tennessee, also black ice. Arkansas, eastern Arkansas, you guys have the same issue. I feel like that black ice warning needs to be all over here, though. North Carolina, cold weather advisory. Virginia, cold weather advisory. Severe cold weather advisory in eastern West Virginia. Actually, that's a severe, extreme cold warning. Ohio, yeah, this whole area is under a moderate cold weather advisory. No. Off the coast, you guys have heavy freezing spray advisory off of Maryland up to New Jersey. New York, moderate cold weather advisory, probably lake effect. Yeah, extreme lake effect snow warning over here along the Great Lakes over in New York, Maine, moderate cold weather advisory. Northern Michigan, moderate cold weather advisory. Moderate winter weather advisory in Wisconsin. That's how they say it. Don't ask them if I'm right because you can just take my word for it. Moderate winter weather advisory over here between Wyoming and South Dakota. Moderate hazardous seas warning, gale warning. Seas 13 to 18 feet at 15 seconds. Be cautious. That can have some sneaker waves might even be. I don't see the word sneaker waves. Sneaker waves are very, very, very sneaky. Severe flood watch over by Olympia, Washington, between Seattle and Olympia. And California, surprise, surprise, moderate dense fog advisory in the exact area that it's been for months. What the heck is that about? Along your coastline, you guys have a beach hazard statement. Sneaker waves. Ugh, those are terrifying. Strong rip currents. I don't play with sneaker waves. You could be walking along the beach, think everything's fine, and then all of a sudden this giant wall of water, like a tsunami, takes you in, and that's the last thing you ever see. Extreme rain and thunderstorms over in Ecuador. I'm just going to go through the extreme ones. Ding, 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 ding. Man, this area's had extreme warnings for a while. Extreme coastal event warning. Yep. Look at that. Africa's so frickin' big. And probably heat warning down here. Yeah, extreme heat in Australia. Take me there, please. And over here. Okay. Now these are the systems. This is that. Hold on. See, the other one said that this was a category 2 right now. This one says tropical storm. Which one is it, people? Maybe that's a prediction? Oh yeah, why is this jumping ahead? I don't get this one. It says it's currently a tropical storm. Then we've got this tropical depression. Apparently low risk of developing over the next 24 hours. Lots of dust here. This dust has pretty much been consistent. It was way worse this time last year, though. Do you guys remember? We had all this dust all over here. It's like the main reason we hadn't had any hurricanes. Still have a lot of dust here and here. Interesting. This is the area with all that fog. Where's all that dust coming from? We already went through the AQI map. Bird migration. I guess I'll play this. If you see one bird flying south, let me know. Because that'll be a first. They're all flying north. I don't know where the heck they're all going, but they're flying north. What if we're like in the Truman Show? And you know how like they show him a map of the world and it's just his town? What if the birds know that there's like a whole other area to go to and it's so much warmer than here and that's where they're all going? What if? And I'll get this on record. FIRMS, Fire Information for Resource Management System. It's basically a heat signature map, as you can see here. It's picking up the volcano in Hawaii that just keeps erupting. Getting this on record. And getting caught in the rain. Dun, dun, dun. If you like making love at midnight. What is going on down yonder? Yonder. Look at this teeny little island. What is it? Man, how far in can I... Oh, man. Wait, what? What? No way. This is very good. Dang. These images don't play. Get the square out of my way. So it's coming from here. I know this really isn't... Oh, I can't zoom in anymore, but wow. That's really neat. Look at that. Look at that. Look how far I zoomed in. What? That was awesome. Oh, lovely. Nor'easter bomb cyclone. A bomb cyclone threatens millions on East Coast with heavy snow and tons of... Well, that goes to my list of things I've never heard before. A bomb cyclone. All right, I literally added it to my list. Let's see what the normies have to say.
Coming in after this, too. All right, I was talking about analogs a little bit earlier with a good buddy of mine, Jeff Huffman.
Nope.
Watching the East Coast, by the way, just still trying to dig out from what we just went through with this massive storm, a completely different setup with what we saw.
Snow piles are
Gosh.
huge.
They are everywhere. And I think a lot of people, it's tough to walk through the sidewalks because they shovel everything to one side. It covers the clear area. But nonetheless, we're still digging out of it. And guess what? We're watching for the potential for a new storm, but we have to watch the eastern seaboard. I'd say from the Carolinas clear up into the Northeast.
Yeah, this is all anyone is talking about on the East Coast. And you can understand why. We just got walloped, and now there's signs in the forecast that we could have another big storm. There are a lot of differences, as there always are. The confidence in this forecast is much lower.
Yeah.
Kind of a bummer, but a reality. Also, there is a wind element to this storm, and that's actually the element that is confident. We're not going to be able to escape the wind field, because even if this overshoots and it's more offshore, the wind field is massive.
Yeah.
So we're going to feel that no matter what.
You think about the Cape and all of the way they stick out. One of the areas that will be dealing with this, you're talking about a lot of coastal flooding, maybe even with those strong winds, potential for power outages, where the storm goes.
Beach erosion.
Beach erosion, yes, exactly.
I mean, it's been a while since we've talked about those epic images of homes falling into the water. A storm like this will bring that back into focus. I will say... There is a lot of uncertainty of the forecast, partially because this coastal low is not even going to form until Saturday. But also, the probabilities are much lower in the computer modeling.
Right.
Ahead of last weekend's storm, there was a 90% confidence of at least 6 inches or more of snow for the 95 corridor. The confidence for 6+ inches or more for the 95 corridor with this storm is 30%.
That's like nothing.
So that automatically shows the computer models are struggling a little more with this.
For sure. I think even looking at some of the discussions this morning, Britt and I were looking at out of North Carolina, South Carolina, they were talking about the impacts for the Carolinas and some uncertainty there as well. Who gets the wintry mix? They're still talking about the lack of confidence, I guess, that we have in that specific storm. To the north, for the northeast, the beach erosion, the winds will be a big story. But how far out does this go? Do we get a glancing blow of snow? Or yeah, exactly. Because this, when you're talking about this after coming off a big storm and we're still digging out, you've got a lot of eyes on this.
There's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Looking at the differences between computer models, it looks like these X's are all very close, which they are. But a huge difference in what type of weather you feel for the East Coast, depending on what X you're focusing on. Historically, if the low forms south of Cape Hatteras, it's a miss for the big Northeast cities.
Yeah.
And right now, it looks like a higher potential of that, but things could change. So stay tuned.
I'm tuned.
Got ice on the roads. We have crews on the scene as we speak.
Mississippi, evacuating stranded drivers on ice-covered interstates amid sub-zero temperatures. More than 120,000 people still in darkness across the state as early as Wednesday, with freezing temperatures expected to persist through much of the week. State DOT cameras showed stalled traffic. Interesting. Oof, yeah, that's tough. If you're on the interstate north, please turn around immediately. Road crews are currently working to remove stranded vehicles from the interstate. These roadways are in extremely dangerous condition. Nashville. Oh, yeah. I'll tell you that in a minute.
We'll keep it to the south, where we're going to focus in on the Sunshine State.
I'll just read it to you. Rare deep freeze underway in Florida, as you saw. Intensifying. Bitter blast extends as far south as Miami. Could see their coldest temperatures in 16 years. Not cool. My gosh, 36 degrees? That's crazy. So sad. That iguana's not dead. They just kind of stop moving when it gets cold. Iguanas are all over the place in Florida. So there's an interesting thing going on over in Tennessee. People were sharing this. It was going viral on social media. But NES, which is like the Nashville Electric Service. So, okay, growing up in South Florida, we lost power all the time with hurricanes. We had a very robust infrastructure. Everything was buried, even just the coating for the buildings was just awesome, and everything else built in the country sucks compared to the houses built in Florida. Metal studs. Anyway. But when the power would go out after, I don't know how many times it would finally go out. Because it would shut off and then kick back on because they had backups and backups and backups. But finally, when it would turn off, it could be days to weeks until you get your power back. And FPL, Florida Power Line, I don't know, it's their electric provider. They would be all over the place trying to fix the lines. But we also saw all these trucks from Georgia and the Carolinas, and I think even Mississippi coming in and helping restore the power. But NES is saying no. They're saying, we have enough people. We're full. What? People in Nashville still don't have power. Nashville had more power outages than any other place in the country. And when you see all those videos of those trees over on power lines and everything, that's all from the same town. It's pretty crazy what's going on over there. And NES is saying no. And we, the people listen, social media world, we're all saying that probably has something to do with the union. They don't want to pay. I don't know. But that's crazy that they're telling other states that are offering to come and help them. They're saying no. They're being turned away. That's some crazy stuff. All right, friends. Thanks for joining. That's about it for today. Have a good night. See you tomorrow.